All right, welcome back to the Hang and Hunt podcast, which I've introduced with the incorrect name now a handful of times, which is good.
Yeah, you've called it the Hunt Urban Podcast.
Yeah, that's what it started.
You've called it the Taylor Only Show.
Well, let's be honest.
Why am I here?
It's really the Billy Show. I'm just trying to hang on to your coattails.
Yeah, well, they're not very high off the ground, so you don't have to reach high.
Thank God, because I don't have good vertical. Actually,
Yeah, after you climbed over that fence this morning, I was looking at him going, I might have to actually help him climb over a 3-foot fence.
the footing was off.
Oh, the footing was off. I hopped right over it, and then he tapped the top. He said, do you think this thing will hold me? I was like, well, it held me.
So in college, this brief sidebar. In college, I played golf in college, obviously, for people that don't know. And we were doing these like physical assessment, which I have a lot of physical to assess, right? And we got to the part where we did the vertical, and they have these little plastic things that you hit out of the way.
Yeah.
And this was like hour 2 of my physical assessment. I'd been joking with the guy the entire time, like very jovial, very much myself. We get to the vertical, and he's like, all right, jump, hit as high as you can. So I'm like, hit! Jump up, and I got like 3 of them. And the guy's laughing his butt off, and he's like, all right, no, really, jump. And I'm like, I did.
It's the sound effect for me.
Yeah, I did. I was
just
like,
puts a mental image.
In my mind, I was Larry Bird. I was above the backboard. And the guy's laughing. He's like, no, for real. Do it for real. I got like 3 pieces of plastic. I could have probably gotten the same without jumping. I think I actually got a lower score than just my hand hitting the thing.
You have a 48-inch vertical? No, a 4.8-inch vertical.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the size of your vertical. It's what you do with it.
Oh, yeah. I can't jump really high. I can jump far.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can jump wide. It's girthy, my jump.
It went to a weird place all of a sudden.
Shocker.
So, we are actually very fortunately joined by our good buddies, Greg and Jared, who've been here hunting. What's up, guys?
I don't know how fortunate you are, but we're here.
We're fortunate. My wife is the lucky one to have all 4 of us
Right.
in her basement right now.
Yeah, she literally just made me move my car.
Yeah.
And I parked in your driveway 1,000 times. I can back out of your driveway at rapid speed now. And
Prove it.
I hit it in reverse just now. I'm like trying to rush back down. And I went, oh, what if there's a kid? This is a neighborhood. I better slow it down.
As long as it's one of my neighbors, man.
I heard about the one neighbor kid who was in your house the other day.
Comes in my house.
Nah, dog. That's a no for me.
It's a no for me, too. It's not like it's a welcome invitation. The kid's nosy. He's poking around my house. He was in my garage the other day.
He was like, I see the mailman walk in almost every day when you're gone,
the
sir.
The mailman, the gardener, the random guy from down the street, that homeless guy a couple times. For a revolving door around here. I just hope she charges. Like a fair rate. I could actually negotiate that deal for her, I think.
Yeah, you probably could.
Is it wrong to charge your wife a commission?
No, that's called pimping.
Gator likes his ladies. All right, so these guys have been in town. We've been doing some turkey hunting, which is awesome.
Yeah, you guys got here, 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we flew in. I flew in Tuesday night. And what's today? Friday?
Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've gotten 3 good days in.
What do you guys think about what's the urban experience been like for you guys?
For me, just being in Virginia from the swampy coastal southeast Georgia climate that I normally hunt, I mean, we were on gobbling birds every single day.
Every day.
I am lucky if I hunt for 5 days to hear 2 gobbles.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And to hear gobbles every day and hundreds of gobbles over the last 3 days, I mean, the first hunt was freaking perfect. We roosted a bird. Taylor had it freaking nailed, Taylor and Billy. They told us right where to go. We heard the bird fly up, came in, set up 75 yards away from him. His feet hit the ground, and we waxed him like 90 seconds later.
And how far away from the highway were you guys?
120 yards, 150
like
yards.
that.
Yeah, you were actually to the point where you couldn't really go much closer because then it would have been illegal. You actually had to pull off and be that, over 100 yards. But, I mean, that's a cool property that you guys were on because,
it's really cool.
yeah, I mean, you're really surrounded by highways. There's a lot of road noise, and
A lot of road
Yeah,
noise.
that makes it tough. Yeah.
I even told you, I said, you would think when you get there that you might not be able to hear a bird gobble because it's so loud. There's these big trucks, Jake braking, and it's just crazy. You get up there and you can really hear them.
And in some ways, it's an advantage because there's more unnatural sounds for the turkeys to gobble at. Because, in the spring, they'll gobble at dang near anything. But when there's Jake braking and cars honking, I think birds fired off at traffic pretty frequently. So it was helpful.
When we roosted that bird, a motorcycle, like a crotch rocket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And that bird was
He
roosting.
just fired off.
Gobbling at this crotch rocket, ripping down the highway.
Yeah, we don't need to use crow calls and owl hoots around here. We use people screaming at their husbands.
You just yell.
Hooty-hoo. Yeah, but it's cool to have you guys up and like have you guys get to experience the terrain and what we kind of take for granted or just what we consider normal of the burbs and kind of like this whole cool environment and ecosystem where the animals have learned to survive around all these people.
Yeah.
And we've learned how to navigate those people and hunt them. And it's really kind of cool to be able to like be that close to a highway and see the turkeys still thriving and being normal.
Yeah, I mean, they're acting just like any other turkey out on a big piece of public land, so it's really cool.
Right.
They get used to that goofy stuff. I mean, you got a great trail cam picture. Literally, I mean, right where you guys were hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right there.
so we pulled a trail camera that I hadn't pulled a card to in about over a year. And I was like, oh, God, this thing's still working. We're going through the pictures, seeing deer, turkeys, a couple trespassers. And then we got a picture of a guy in a nightie, like a lingerie, skimpy nightie.
Legit
It
90.
was, yeah.
See through the whole.
Yeah,
Lacy.
sheer, lacy. I mean, he was feeling pretty when he slipped that on. And the best thing about it is the fact that there were 3 pictures. Him in the nightie, and he's walking with a chick.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
My first question was,
let's not assume their pronouns. Right?
yeah, because, anyway.
We're PC.
Oh, yeah. Very PC.
But yeah, I mean, they were walking with another person, and but the first picture, they're normal, smiling. The second one, he notices the camera, and the third picture, his face was like,
Oh my gosh, I'm on camera.
What's going on? But he still didn't even care. He's just like, oh, screw it.
Neither do the turkeys or the deer.
Yeah, there was one picture of some person strolling through at like 5:04, and at 6:04, here comes a giant gobbler walking the exact same path.
Yeah, I think they just wait. They know. I mean, they know what their predators are. When those foxes rolled up on you guys, those turkeys knew out of here. We're gone.
Yep.
They knew what the real predators were, but I guess when someone with blue and pink hair just bops through with a nightie,
his hair was normal.
Well, no, but then you had the blue-haired chick a couple days ago too.
Throwing a gang sign at me.
I know. At your camera, like, what up, what up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
14-year-old is acting hard. It's like Smurf poop on her head.
Yeah, she's super tough.
Yeah. Do you guys? What's the weirdest trail camera picture you guys?
I did have a guy. I have permission on an HOA back in Georgia, and I did have a guy that came down. He's like a surveyor, so they're out putting out the flagging tape and whatnot, and he just turns right to the camera. He sees it and whips it out and takes a piss right in front of the camera. I saved it. I've got the footage. So.
I bet you did. See it.
I need
Zoom
to
in,
publish
magnify.
that. We need to overlay that right here. Video of that footage right there. It's pretty,
Hopefully he's got
pretty
a
awesome.
big censored block and not a small pixelated.
He didn't care, man. This dude, I'm sure he's whipped it out plenty of times in front of lots of different people just by looking at him.
Hey, y'all, check this out.
This was definitely an urban setting, but not hunting. We were planting roses in a really, highly populated metropolitan area just outside of D.C. And it was a big park we were renovating. This is for work, not hunt urban or anything else. But
Spare planting.
yeah, right. Yeah. So we hear this guy going, "Hey, gentlemen. Hey, gentlemen," and we're like, "What in the what is going? We turn over and look at the bus stop, and there's this tiny little short guy, and he was in his probably late 60s, maybe early 70s. And when we all turned around, he whipped it out and just started waving it at us, right? And he's going, gentlemen, gentlemen. So I sprinted over to him because I wanted to give him a hug. No, he right away, the bus pulled up and he jumped on the bus and took off. We couldn't even like call the cops, or I didn't even know what to do, but he timed it perfectly for us to look at him right when
he's executed that plan
Yeah.
before.
Oh, yeah.
Props to that guy.
It wasn't his first rodeo, that's for sure.
No, it wasn't his first waving section.
Run by jigging. This trail camera picture for me takes the cake as far as most odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, I remember looking at it and going,
what?
What's he wearing?
That's
Is
a
that
nightie.
a nightgown? Like, what the? Yeah, that was crazy.
Before this one, my favorite trail camera picture was it was at an HOA. A landscaper had run back in the woods and was pooping.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 14 pictures. It was a series of Hector goes poo-poo because it's him. He's getting his pants off, then he's squatting, and then he recognized the camera, and then was trying to get the camera off.
With his pants still down?
Yeah. It was bad. Shout out to Browning for their 0.01 second trigger time, because it really was a nice collage of about 14 photos.
We run into so many weird things when we're in these suburban settings. Well, we have a property where there's look, the husband knows what his wife is doing, and her blinds are wide.
Well, the back of their house
open.
is all glass.
The back of their house, the entire back of their house is
very
glass.
contemporary square home is solid glass.
Mm-hmm. Overlooks like this beautiful creek bottom. There's houses right behind it, but yeah, she every morning wakes up and shows the goods, and she knows we're hunting there.
Yeah,
you
so
can see
she
us in the
looks
tree from
out, sees our truck, and then we'll just stand at the window naked. We're like 50 yards away. I mean, it's not like we're not hiding. I mean, we are hiding, but it's not like we're not out. We're not supposed to be there. Right?
That is why that property is overhunted.
Yeah. I hunted it 734 times.
No deer ever harvested there.
Yeah, and it's weird, and her husband knows what's going on.
He totally knows.
Comments about
He
it.
even said, hey, "You've seen my wife, haven't you?"
He was like,
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen her.
Actually, he asked me that after I handed him a pack of deer hot dogs one time. Which was even weirder.
How ironic.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, thanks. By the way, you see my wife out there? It's like, no, sir, I hunt way over on the other side of the property.
We were hunting a property very close to Taylor's house, and there was a young couple. They were probably in high school, and they snuck out of a house, and it was getting late in the evening, summertime, and they snuck out of the house and started to hook up down by the creek. And sitting there, and I'm like, this is weird. I mean, they had no idea I was pretty close to them. And they kind of looked around, got back at it. I'm like, I'm going to tell your father. And oh my, you never saw somebody run so fast back to their house. The girl left the boy, and he's standing there like, I don't know where to go. And he didn't even go back to the house. He just went around back on the backside of the neighborhood.
We have, I have some pretty good footage from that same property where one of the kids came out back and was like, I think he was trying marijuana for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And it was hilarious.
That's the place. Remember, he left his water pipe there.
No, different place. I'm talking about.
Oh, we're talking about two different properties then. Because the one kid left it was a big red acrylic water pipe.
Oh, really?
Right at the creek, yeah.
The different property.
That's a degenerate neighborhood. And these houses,
$3 million houses.
Yeah, there are like multi-million-dollar homes all through there. There's just degenerates running around the woods, including us.
Yeah. We're just one level more respectful. How about the Mom's Gone Wild pool party?
Oh, that was the best. Taylor and I went to this property, and we got there pretty early, summertime.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we hear music playing.
It was like Cisco.
It was like
Mom's Gone Wild.
And we're like, whoa, what is going on? We're about to get a show. And we start looking. There's a lot of people in the backyard, and you can tell they're sipping on the wine spritzers. And then we realized it's all women. It was 30 or 40 women.
They were all like moms.
Yeah.
like it was like the neighborhood moms, and they were getting wild, like screaming and.
Did y'all join in or what?
We actually did text about that, but we did not. No, I actually left like a little girl because a thunderstorm came through.
Yeah, the skies were getting black, and Taylor sends me a picture. He's like, "There's a red blob."
Yeah, it was like your phone's making the uncontrollable.
Yeah, there were alerts coming across. Yeah,
Billy's like, "I'm toughing it out," and you end up shooting a deer.
Yeah, I shot a deer like 10 minutes after you left.
Yeah, and then the heavens opened up.
Yeah,
it was pouring rain.
It poured, but I was able to actually get that deer back into the truck before I got wet. But those people were, I mean, they were just ready to party. They didn't care. They were like, electrocute us right now. We're gonna die happy.
I don't feel pain.
Little did I know you really left to go around the corner to go strip at that party for him.
I didn't realize I was double booked. Sorry, ladies. Chad canceled, and I'm popping out of the cake. We can get a full refund.
They were like, wah, wah, wah. It's chewed bubble gum.
It's like a tidal pool, but it's under skin. Like the wave on
There was another property. You never hunted this one, Taylor, but these folks would sit in their jacuzzi, and they had bathing suits on, but when I was hunting there, they would sit in their jacuzzi and say, "See anything yet?" I'm not far away from them, and I'm like, "No." And then there was one time when I did shoot a deer there, and after I shot, and it wasn't a great shot. But after I shot, the husband jumps up. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, you got it. You got it." I'm like, "Damn, I hit the deer back." It was, cheering section out of the jacuzzi.
Wow. You watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh,
and was for it. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they want us to take these deer out because they're just wiping out their yards. We've definitely had landowners watch us shoot deer before. But the worst is when you pass on a deer. Like whether it's you didn't have a good shot or, you want to pass on maybe a small buck if you only have one buck tag or something like that. And they will text you, "Why didn't you shoot that deer? It was right in front of you. You had a perfect shot." I'm like, "Look, dude, you don't even know what a perfect shot is, first of all." But but then
like
second
it was
of all,
looking right at you. You could have shot it right in the head.
Yeah, shoot it right in the face. Yeah, but no, we definitely have spectators sometimes. And, we've had people watching and seeing what we're doing and we didn't know. And, maybe they weren't part of the deer management organization. So, that you're always in the public eye, and that's kind of one of the main reasons that we try to be really incognito. Like when we dropped you guys off, we pulled a vehicle out, so we didn't leave a vehicle there, open, exposed, out where someone could just pull up to it. I mean, because it's a really, really busy road.
Yeah.
And if people see you walking in and hunting, they can call the police, they can call game warden. They usually don't call the game warden.
It's perfectly legal,
100%.
but you just want to avoid it, avoid the hassles.
Yeah, and we're not trying to hide from the public the fact that we hunt. We're recording a freaking public podcast, so it's not like we're trying to hide, but we just try to be respectful of people, and then also try to avoid any issues that we have. A lot of people cheer us on.
And also we also don't want to alert people to where we're hunting because either it brings negative attention from the neighbors or potentially negative.
There's a 0 right there.
Yeah, because this little record button is not on.
Awesome.
It doesn't just pass through?
It does. It's passing through to there.
So it's recording right there.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Did you saw me look over there and go?
I did too.
I'm seeing the levels
Oh, my
bounce.
God.
We're good.
Hey, everybody be quiet. Yep.
Crisis averted.
Yeah, this is just pass through.
Hearts pounding.
You're just using this as a mixer.
But
You usually record
we
for
usually
backup.
hit that.
yeah, we normally hit record, but it doesn't really change anything.
Shouldn't.
Hopefully that doesn't just...
Let's start the podcast all over.
Shouldn't change anything.
Hope you guys enjoyed the last 97 minutes. 'Cause we didn't. We're not reliving them. No, but we definitely want to avoid people knowing that we're hunting there because we don't want to have a landowner now get bugged by their neighbors or by other hunters. Right? I mean, we've put in the legwork to get these properties, and we don't want more people coming in and competing.
So, I mean, we had a pretty cool experience today. Our buddy Peter Dalton took us out to one of his own personal properties that he's worked for years trying to get permission on. He finally got permission on this property. And I hit him up, and I wanted to give these guys a different perspective. I mean, they've been hunting in the suburbs for the past couple of days. I said, let's go out into the country. Yeah. And we drove, you guys probably had to drive, 45 minutes, an hour? Mm-hmm. It was probably over an hour for you guys to get out. And we get out there, and we hunted, and we had birds. We were definitely in birds this morning. Weren't able to close the deal. But then when we left, you guys talked to the landowner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And he was absolutely appreciative and inviting you guys, like, come on, shoot them all.
Right. He was like, next time you come back.
He's like, leave your decoys here. You can just.
He's like, no one's going to steal them. Yeah, just leave them here. Will that attract more turkeys?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, they were super nice. I mean, Taylor parked in the wrong spot and blocked the whole driveway.
100% blocked their access.
Oh, you went back to get the decoys.
I heard him say that, and he said, it was the one day where I was actually going to do some stuff. Yeah. And you parked there, so now I don't have to do it.
Yeah. But they were super nice. They said, hey, come back anytime. Mm-hmm. We don't live here, so obviously we're not going to, but they were like, yeah, come on. I mean, that's cool to meet people that are so nice and generous, really.
Yeah. And when you do hunt private land, it's always a good idea to go and talk to the landowners. Let them know you're going to be there. Just be personal with them, and then thank them. Every time you're there, at least stop by and say hello. Just thank them, and it gives you that little bit of rapport and gives them the feel-goods that, all right, these guys aren't Neanderthals.
It goes a long way. I got permission on a really nice piece when I was stationed up in Fort Drum, New York, and so the key to getting property, if you're listening out there and you want to know how to get urban properties, is show up in a military uniform with your daughter, your little daughter, and no one will say no. Trust me on that. So I got a piece of
no
property.
Stolen valor, though, guys.
Yeah.
When I show up with you dressed like my daughter, people just close the door. We don't even get a pitch.
It's just the way that I say daddy that they don't like.
But I got this property, and I told the folks that I was working with, at the time I was in active duty, and they were all civilians. I was working with all civilians, and two of them were big hunters. And I was showing them on Onyx, like, where I got the property. I was like, I got it right here. They're like, really? We've been trying to get that property forever. Like, how'd you do that? And I was in uniform. She said yes. But the point is, after I got a deer there, there was this kind of local flavor butcher there, and it was called Krogan, and they made this bologna, and everybody called it Krogan bologna, and it's really popular in that area. So I took them the deer, and they made some Krogan bologna and all the other stuff, and I took the lady some of the bologna, like you said, talked about earlier. You're giving them some of the stuff back to the landowner, so I gave her the Krogan bologna, and she told me, she said, I've had family and friends and all kind of people hunt this place over the years, and she said no one has ever done that. And she said, that I'm so thankful. She said, you have free reign. Come and go whenever you want. If I'm not here, no big deal. Just, you can use my property like it's your own. And of course I wouldn't do that. I'm very respectful of the property, but it just goes to show you that it makes a big difference when you're kind and generous and thankful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you show the appreciation.
Right.
And that's what they really care about. Is they want somebody that's going to be treating them like they want to be treated, and treat their land the same way that they would treat it.
Sure, and you're taking a resource off of their property. And if you're just taking and taking and taking, and it's a renewable resource, but if they don't get a piece of it, especially if they want it or they've never tried it.
Yep.
There's another property that I hunt where one of the sons wants to get into hunting. And my initial thought, very first thought was, oh, great, I'm going to lose this property because he's going to start hunting. And it was selfish of me to think that way. And then I instantly regretted feeling that way. So I said, do you want me to help him, mentor him and teach him? And they said yes, but he's still a little young yet, so he's going to wait at least a year or two. And man, it's a killer property. But it would be really cool for him to be able to walk out of his back door and go hunt whenever he wants. And okay, if I lose a property, not a big deal. There's other ones that I have. And it gets a new hunter into it, and he gets to share that with his family. And they don't even really eat much deer, but he wants to do it. He's intrigued by it. And they don't even come from a hunting family. So it's an opportunity. So if you can give back in any way, whatever they want, you don't just force bologna down a landowner's throat if they don't want it.
Bologna.
But I'm a vegan. It's tofu.
Not anymore.
Yeah, eat it now. I lost one of my favorite properties where we did a photo shoot last year because his sons wanted to learn how to hunt, and I taught him how to hunt.
Really?
Hung tree stands.
Yep.
Hooked him up with a crossbow, the whole nine,
Mm.
and I was like, enjoy it. But for the same thing, man, it's like for us losing a property, it's really not that big of a deal.
No, I mean it's only an acre anyway.
and well, I lost the 15 across the street that were really good too.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, whatever. Like, let them hunt it. It's their house, and
Yeah.
you know, they're great people. And you know, I never had somebody that could help me out like that along the way. So if I can do that for somebody else, that's
Yeah,
better.
and maybe that's the payment. Maybe the permission, wasn't a permanent permission. Maybe whether you knew it or not, maybe getting into that, it was going to be a temporary thing, and something good was going to come out of it after you've already taken, a bunch of deer there, and maybe getting someone into the sport after that. They saw that you were successful. They saw that you weren't just some yahoo who was taking advantage of a property, and they respected that and allowed their kids to get in to follow someone like you. I mean, that blows my mind that someone would want to follow you.
That's crazy.
Well, and a
Trust me
lot
with
of
the
these
children.
landowners, I'm not a landowner, but as I've gotten older and dealt with more and more property owners, that property becomes kind of like part of the family. Oftentimes it's passed down through generations, or, they had to work their butt off to acquire it, and they really care about their land. And for them to open it up, it's almost like opening up their home.
Yeah.
And, to be anything but respectful and generous, in return, I think it's just bad for them, not just as a hunter, but just as a human being.
Absolutely.
You should really respect when someone is so generous with you. And I really noticed that lesson kind of sunk home with that lady, because she really, really cared about her property. It was very important to her, and it's just been, reiterized. I don't think that's a word. Reiterated over and over again through the years. But treat people respectfully, and it'll come back to you, I think.
And that goes to public land too. We treat our public lands
Yeah.
with absolute respect in the same way that we would want to treat a neighbor or a property that's ours, or, picking up trash or doing everything respectfully, just like you're talking to the actual landowner or doing something for the landowner, but it's really for the next guy or next lady who's going to come in there and,
for
and
your
use
kids.
it. Yeah,
They're
or
gonna
for our
use,
kids. Or
the land after you.
exactly, because, we can really screw up, and ruin, whether it's private property permission or public property permissions. The state can come in if any recreational user goes in and ruins the land, starts a forest fire, just trashes the place up. Things can get shut down really quickly.
Yep.
So,
Well, it's like that. I forget which organization has the saying, but they say it's not ours, it's just our turn.
I
That's
like
good.
And I
that.
think
That's
that
real good.
really kind of hits the nail on the head. where-
Yeah, and I think and
So
that
we have
goes
to
for
throw
public
away
and
our
private.
public landowner T-shirts because it's not really ours.
Yeah, we wanted to do ours that said BHA, Backyard Hunters Association. Just a big fat silhouette in a tree hanging off of his saddle.
I think you have one that says private land leaser
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
That was a good one. That was I think Justin Czar made those shirts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't apologize for hunting a lot of private.
No way.
Because if I want to hunt public, I've got to drive 3 times as far to get to public lands. I mean, you think about, remember when you were hunting in college, that's all you hunted was public land.
Yeah, dude, it was like I felt like I was overseas. I mean, the piece of public land that I hunted, and this was actually kind of funny though, because the only public land that I ever hunted was that, because I didn't hunt until I went to college. And so there was a small piece of public land that you could hunt, and it was Orange Army. I mean, it was the stereotypical hunters that people think about in a kind of negative mindset, like drinking beer, shooting at anything, like really dangerous situation. And there was way too many people in the woods for that small piece of property. I remember going there being like, good golly, like this is bad. And you just hear shots like ring down in a row kind of thing, because like a deer is running away. It's very dangerous. So when I went out west for the first time, my mindset was, okay, I need to figure out where I know a property owner so I can get permission to their property. because there's no way anything respectable lives on public land. And boy, was I wrong.
Absolutely. Well, you guys were just down in Georgia hunting on a massive, massive property, right?
Yep.
I mean, how big was that public land?
So we were hunting on Fort Stewart, military installation, 250,000 huntable acres. I think it's way bigger than that, but I might have that wrong. It's either 250,000 total. I think it's 250,000 huntable with excess. But, yeah, it's so big. And, I mean, we bumped into people, but it wasn't like a lot of people.
Well, it's a good thing you bumped into one.
Yeah.
Pulled you out of a little bind.
Yeah,
huh?
thanks for bringing that up.
I don't know. Jared's like, I don't know. It looks pretty deep.
I told him not.
I don't know if we can do it.
That was some creative editing from Jared. He was pushing it. He was poking the
I
bear.
think I said send it.
He did say send it. We both said send it.
Did a
So,
yeehaw let out?
well, the real story is, so this little mud hole, it was way bigger than we thought.
It was big.
And so we got halfway through it, and it was not that bad. And then the second half was like really bad.
Real
like,
bad.
Like tank treads deep because it's military installation. Probably tanks ruin the road. And that's when Jared said, I don't know about that. And I was like, too late now.
It was weird that you guys did go through some other deep areas that had like a hard bottom, and you just cruised right through like it was nothing.
That's right. But this was all clay, and it was no bueno.
That's the tricky part about Fort Stewart is the roads are so many different types of clay and sand and all that. Yeah, you really got to be careful because Saddlepalooza, 2 or 3 years ago, there was like 5 dudes that got stuck. They were stuck for the whole week.
Stuck the whole week. Had to leave the trucks overnight and go get help.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. Those roads can get really, really bad.
So how did you guys get out? Some guy pulled you out?
Well, yeah, we were going to winch out, but then a guy came around and we ended up tying the winch to his truck and we got a little help. It was actually the guy that we bumped into.
Yeah. So we were going into a spot that we just looked at on the map and we were like, man, this creek bottom looks really good. We're going to get there real early and listen for birds. And we roll up in there and this dude's standing right at the tree where we wanted to hunt.
Like right at the spot where we were going to get out.
On X.
Like on X the pin. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we kept going and we went and heard another spot and we didn't hear any birds. And then we were driving around covering a lot of ground and we get stuck. And it's that dude. He comes down and
pulls us out.
Of all the roads, that place is so big, and he came down that one road. So
it goes back to being respectful to these folks. I mean, you could have been like, "You son of a bitch! Why this is my spot? Look, I picked it on Onyx before you did." But the fact that you backed out and you gave him his space and went somewhere else, he came by and said, "Oh, these guys, At least they didn't give me hell for.
I'll stop and help them.
Yeah,
which is the right thing to do, though, right?
Yeah.
If you see first off, if you're on public land and somebody else is there, you're polite, cordial, and you roll on like it's not your spot.
that's right.
And then if you see somebody stuck in the mud, you help them pull them out.
yeah.
Yep.
I had a guy walk under me. I was hanging in a tree, and I was close to the property line, but I was legal. And the guy walked under me with a rifle in an area that you're not allowed to rifle hunt. Like you don't have the opportunity to rifle hunt.
Was it a cop?
No, he was not hunting. But he walked under me, and I said, "Excuse me, sir," and he's looking around. He's not looking up. I said, "Sir, excuse me." He keeps looking around. He says, "Where are you?" I said, "Look up, look up." I said, "You're on private property." He said, "No, you're not allowed to hunt here." I said, "Sir," I was respectful to him. I said, "Sir, you're not allowed to hunt here. I'm the only one who has permission." And he got a little bit belligerent with me, but he left, hopped the fence back to where he came from, and left. But I ended up calling the game warden because, I'll deal with trespassers, but then somebody trespassing with a rifle in an area that it's illegal to shoot a rifle.
Yeah.
So that brings up an interesting question that Greg asked me earlier this week. If that guy, for example, on that property is trespassing, if he shot a deer, but it's in season and he has a tag and he's a legal hunter.
And we're assuming it's legal to rifle hunt this particular area.
So is that poaching?
Hold on. Is he trespassing?
Yes.
Yes, that's poaching.
So
Yes.
that was
Is
my
it poaching or is it trespassing?
That's poaching.
So somebody told me, I don't remember if I heard it somewhere or if it was a conversation, but they said that it's not poaching if it's the animal's legal. It's a legal kill. Everything is legal except for where you're standing. Essentially, if you put it on a different piece of ground, if everything else was the same. So I was told that is not poaching. It's trespassing. I don't know if it's true. That was just a question.
I'd say it's a little both.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
I think
Well, I guess the question is, what could the game warden actually cite you for? Could he cite you for poaching, or could he cite you for trespassing?
Well, he would cite you for trespassing. He would cite you for hunting without permission.
Okay.
So and maybe even that may be considered taking game illegally.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know.
I guess it depends on the locale, but I would think about it this way: if I own a property and I'm hunting the property, and someone's sneaking onto my property to kill the deer that are on my property, that seems to me like they're killing the deer illegally.
Yeah.
So I look at that as poaching.
It's
and
almost a
trespassing.
semantics thing. Like everyone says that's poaching, but I just was. That's the reason I was asking Taylor if he knew because of all of his experience with all these different lands and stuff that he hunts.
And all the
Someone-
cops being called on us.
Because someone told me that and it didn't sound right. I was like, well, that seems a little bit like poaching to me. You're just calling it something different. Right.
We're just polishing a turd here, buddy.
Yeah, so maybe we're playing semantics here, but yeah, definitely illegal.
Yeah, I
definitely
would.
not legal.
Yeah, we're going to avoid that at all costs. Get permission.
Yeah.
Use Onyx.
No, I was just curious. I mean, I thought it was an interesting discussion that we had. I mean, obviously, nobody at this table is doing that. I'm just saying that.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just looking at you. Just for fun.
No, because I mean, we would never. I just was curious if that was correct.
It's just
'Cause
an
I
interesting
thought-
question.
Yeah,
Like,
I
what
thought
is it?
that the act of taking game illegally
Is poaching. Yeah, that's what I thought. But
Yeah, no matter where you're standing. I mean, I guarantee there is going to be a way that you can just start racking up charges, right?
Probably so.
You know?
Yeah.
Your truck's gone.
Yeah, I think you can lose vehicles
See,
and
the kid
your
that-
weapons and
The kid that lived next to me in the dorms freshman year of college, his uncle was driving home. This was in Yorktown, Virginia. Battlefields everywhere. Sees a gigantic Boone and Crockett deer in the field. This is at night. Stops his truck, turns it towards the deer, so it's now in his headlight. Grabs his rifle off the gun rack, lays it across his hood, shoots the deer. Deer's standing there. Racks another round in it, shoots it. He proceeds to shoot this thing 4 times before the cops jump out. They're like, "Stop shooting! Stop shooting!"
was it one of those decoys?
Yeah, it was a decoy. And he got the book thrown at him because that's a federal offense.
Oh,
It's a battlefield.
Well, there's all kind of violations there. You're shooting from a road.
Yeah,
It's,
after
This
dark.
guy,
Yeah.
but I'm not defending the guy.
No, I know,
He's
I know.
clearly wrong, but he lost everything. He went to jail, lost his truck. He's like never allowed to hunt again, as he shouldn't be. But like,
well, I think part of the conversation, I wish I could remember who said this, but anyway, I think part of the question was, if you're poaching in that scenario,
Yeah.
your truck, your weapon, like all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trespassing and you happen to kill a deer, everything else is legal. Can you still lose your weapon, your vehicle, etc., or do you just
Yeah,
get
I don't
a
know.
fine for trespassing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Somebody's gonna know. I'm gonna have to Google this.
I want somebody to leave a comment below. Tell us.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you do you think that if you're 100% legal, but or you don't have the permission on the property that you shot your deer on, is that considered poaching?
If I come to a private property that I own, and there's a deer dead there, and like his head's missing, that deer was poached.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody
what we would.
trespassed
That's what
on
we
there.
say in our language.
Yeah.
That's how we communicate the idea of an illegally killed animal. We would say it's poached.
Yeah.
But is that what it would be in a court of law? That's
I would
That's
be
the
really-
question.
Exactly, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to.
Yeah,
know the
I'd like to
answer.
know that. My dad just picked up property for sika deer hunting, and
October. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That's prime rut, so it should be a blast. Well, there's a blacktop road that splits the property, and it's a back road. There are no houses around. It's really in the middle of nowhere. And when we first started walking the property,
It's a dead end.
yeah, it's a dead end, absolutely. And when he bought the property, we didn't we didn't fully scout it before we bought it. We checked it out. We looked at maybe a third of it and checked everything out on Onyx, and because it's really thick and it's a decent sized property. So that right after everything was settled and closed, we went down there immediately. We were all excited, and we walked around, and we found lots of sign, and right next to the road, we found what looked like a wallow. And these Sika deer, if some of the listeners don't know, they're a miniature elk, and they will use wallows just like a Rocky Mountain elk will. And we found this one depression, and we looked at it, and we said, oh, that's a wallow. We're going to come check it out. And we looked at the property and came back, and the wallow looked abnormally large, and just something was off. So we looked a little closer, and we saw little cracked pieces of corn in it. And immediately my brother said, that's corn. That's a bait pile right there. And in Maryland, you're allowed to bait, okay? But this was 15 yards off the Blacktop Road. And I looked even closer. There was a crossbow bolt with a broadhead on it in the mud right in that bait pile. So
From the road.
from the road. And it was, aimed in towards the property from the road. So you can tell what was happening there. And we really, we kept an eye on it, and we call that now, we call it the poachers area. You know, we have a stand in there. It's the poachers site. Not like we have poachers, or we poach there, but that's just what we call it now.
I'm not hunting there.
Yeah, no.
Don't put me there, Billy.
You only hunt there if you're the poacher. Yeah, that's exactly where you're going. So then fast forward into, there was a primitive season that was down there, and it was only like traditional bows and side lock muzzleloaders. And we went down to hunt, and I noticed a vehicle parked in our driveway in front of the gate, and I couldn't get in. And, it was definitely a hunter. They had like black powder stuff in their car, and it was stickers. So we called the game warden, and we waited for the guy to come out. He ended up coming out of a property that he had permission on. He was hunting totally legally, but for some reason he decided to park in our driveway.
And block you out.
And block us, so, we couldn't get in or out.
I would have winched him out.
But, he was apologetic, and the game warden checked him out, and he was totally legit, and everything he did was totally fine, and it was just, he parked in the wrong spot. Not a big deal. So we told the game warden, we said, hey, we've got a potential poaching spot 75 yards up the road. Let's go check it out. And he looked at it, and he's like, absolutely, this is 100% a poaching spot. He said, if you ever see any activity here, let me know. Here's my card. He said, you might want to put a camera up. He said, I can put a camera up, but then I've got to go, an hour away, go sign it out. If you can just put it up and get any evidence whatsoever, we'll be rock and rolling. So my dad put a camera up across the road and kind of at an angle so it would be difficult to see. A little while goes by, maybe a week or two goes. No, it was a couple days went by. We went back down. The camera was gone. We look over in the spot, and there was a pile of, like, I would guess it was like the deer feed or some type of pelletized feed in that spot, and the camera was gone. So we called the game warden. He checked it out, and they ended up starting to set up sting operations down there. They showed us the Sika stag decoy that they have. They have does and bucks, whitetails. They showed us all. So they did a little sting operation down there for, I don't know, it was like a week or so. Every night they're going down there. And then he said, well, we're not getting, maybe the camera spooked them off. So then now they're expanding in that area. And he even said, look, we don't go down there that much because it's so far out of the way. There's only one way in, one way out. So it's not like you can go through and make a loop and come out. It's one way in, one way out. So you check one way, and then you're wasting your time on the way back. But now that's on his radar, which I don't mind at all. I mean, we're going to go down there and do everything legally, but it also keeps people from, they know we're serious.
That's
you know? They know we're not messing around. We're not going to disrespect you, so don't disrespect us. But yeah, we call that guy the poacher.
He is.
That's poaching. That's 100% poaching.
Literally is poaching.
That's pretty brazen.
Yeah.
From a road.
To put a bait pile out 15 yards off the road.
Which there's also a statute about how far off the road, off
yeah.
of public highway, you can discharge a weapon.
Could you imagine how many laws that guy's breaking? If they would have caught him, he'd have lost his vehicle, everything. Everything.
We had that issue at a property that I hunt here. We had some construction happening at the end of the road, and there's a long, kind of slow, windy road to get back to that construction. And the neighbors started finding bloody crossbow bolts in their front yard. And, you know, I don't think they ever caught the guy, but we assumed it was a construction worker who was driving to that site. Because otherwise, there's no reason.
There's no one over there. Yeah.
And they were shooting deer in the front yards.
Well, there's an HOA that we hunt also that over the past year there have been 3 crossbow bolts in houses.
Yikes.
Okay, and one, they took a picture from inside of a second-story window. Okay, and the crossbow bolt is on the very top of the window, but it's in the frame. And if you look down in the picture, you look down the crossbow bolt, it goes directly towards a golf course. And on that golf course, there's a cart path, and there's conveniently an opening in the back of the vegetation in the back of their yard, right where the golf carts can pass. So you can tell that bolt came directly from there. Now it's either the second or the third in the same county.
Third. It's like an anti-hunter they suspect going to these properties that they know allow hunting and trying to create like hunting accidents to get hunting shut down.
Interesting.
Wow.
We had a guy. What was that, like 2010 or 11? You remember the person that started cutting the straps on our sticks?
Jeez.
They would cut the strap until there was like a centimeter of strap.
That is so dangerous.
Wow.
Can you think
That's
about
freaking attempted murder.
And think about the logic behind it, right? That somebody is so upset that we're killing deer that they're trying to kill us.
Yeah.
That is literally attempted murder.
Yeah, how do you cross? Like, can you believe that?
Yeah, it's insane.
It's funny that some of our biggest opponents to what we do are actually other hunters.
Yeah, I can see that.
We've had many people have mentioned to us, "You guys are doing the wrong thing. I can't believe you're doing that."
Really?
Because we're looking at massive overpopulations of deer, so we're trying to knock the herd down. And in their mind, it's either you should only be shooting bucks, shooting does is not hunting, and the other one is you need does to bring all the bucks in. And I'm like, I don't want to get into I'm not a biologist, but I do know that you need to knock that doe population down for the herd to be healthy.
You have a 20-to-1 doe to buck ratio. You're not even going to see a rut.
Yeah, I mean, why would a buck have to move?
Yeah, he lays there like Jabba the Hutt with ladies laying all around him, a harem, putting grapes and leaves in his mouth. Corn kernels, sir.
Well, I have seen some urban hunting content wherever that has rubbed me the wrong way. But, I mean, I know you guys pretty well and know that that's not your style. But I could see that if you were a hunter and that's what your impression of urban hunting is, that you're shooting deer out of driveways or pet deer, like basically caged animals that can't go anywhere else. If that's what you think it is, then I could see why they would say that. But it's not what it is.
No, I mean, I think everyone knows a place like some park or something like that where people feed deer and you can walk right up to them. And, so there have been properties that we've gone on that there have been so many deer that, they're not afraid of people and they're not afraid of dogs and things like that. It's really funny, though. Once you get into a tree, the whole story changes.
Or even if you walk in camo.
Yeah. If you just walk in and I think a perfect backdrop would be to actually have a push mower and just push mow right up to them. I mean, that they probably wouldn't run away.
That's hilarious. Just carry a weed eater in with you, all the way to your tree.
I'll have to show you guys my my Russian mafia, my machine, my tracksuit.
Your tracksuit. I've heard about the tracksuit.
It's like triple X, which now unfortunately fits me better than it did when I bought it. But yeah, I mean, I wear that over top of my camo when I go hunt some parks, and it's because the deer, you can walk right past them. But if I have camo on, they blow out of there.
True.
Yeah, and it's funny when you start sneaking. You're sneaking through the woods or sneaking through a yard.
Different.
The deer look at you like, "Oh, hi, predator."
Yeah. Right.
Hello. I mean, they're hardwired to understand that.
The difference, yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
One of my favorite things to do, if I'm walking on loud leaves, even if it's pitch black, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll cluck. I'll make turkey clucks. I keep a call in my pack. And the deer don't know that turkeys are roosted until the sun comes up. I literally have come up over a hill and had a deer be, a couple feet past where you are. They're like, wait, that's not a turkey? And then they're gone. But, I mean, you can kind of bypass that hearing defense mechanism if you just sound like something that they're familiar with. Same way you can get past their eyes if you just act like something they're used to. You're not triggering that defense mechanism.
Yeah, and, shooting off of driveways and, we've definitely shot deer out of, like tree houses, back decks, and things like that. But it's been more out of necessity, whether there were no trees or if you can't get in without spooking. You can't get into the backyard because some of these properties, one of the reasons they're so infested with deer is because they're older folks and they don't leave. They don't walk out of their house. And if they do, it's directly to the front yard and back. They never go into their backyards. So once you break that barrier past the back of the house and you're in the backyard, it's game over. And it's a lot of these places, the woods are only 30 and 40 yards deep or, maybe 50 yards deep, and you can see forever. As soon as you break that plane, they can see you from hundreds of yards away, and they're never coming in. So we will, at times when we're allowed, we'll go through a house to get to the back deck. Absolutely done that.
But that's out of a population control mindset.
Yeah, it's totally
and that's
different.
where people think that that's not hunting, because if we did that and we were only shooting like trophy deer, right, then I think that's what people kind of assume. They don't realize that we're doing it because we're trying to produce every deer around. Like,
it's
we
the
target
numbers.
the does. We want to shoot does. Obviously everybody loves shooting bucks also, but
but you guys are hunting in April, May, June.
Yeah.
I mean,
August,
there are no bucks.
where it sucks. I don't want to hunt in
miserable.
June.
Yeah. It's funny. People are always like, God, I wish I could hunt you around. I'm like, no, you don't.
No.
You really don't.
No. I mean, there are
Sweating
tricks.
in places you don't know exist.
Oh, that smells terrible.
What is that? It's so gushy.
Oh, God. I just had a visual and...
Lord.
I don't
yeah,
know
that's
why.
right. Yeah, it's dripping. No, but when it's really, really hot out, and you're a Georgia hunter, so I mean, you probably have to deal with that heat, like
In December.
in December, right? But I will definitely freeze washcloths and just use that to cool off with, and then it's like a built-in wet wipe if you need it.
Just wringing it out in your mouth.
After you wipe the sweat off, then you wring it out. Get your
Salty
electrolytes
and
back.
Sweet. It's like,
Oh, God.
all right. Well, we gotta let these guys go. I want to first off, I want to thank them for being troopers and standing, because in the true narcissistic fashion that we possess, we built out a podcast studio with 2 seats.
No
and then we
guess.
were like,
And then we took the seats.
yeah.
The
Well,
Billy
yeah,
and Taylor
it's
show.
for our seat. But then we're like, oh hell, where are we gonna put these guys? This doesn't look right.
I did suggest to take one of the targets, and you were like, nah, fucking make them stand.
Well, I think it would just look odd. I did bring a chair down, but the chair is like a teeny tiny chair. It's just gonna look weird.
You just see Greg's eyes.
Over here, I have a question. I'd like to contribute.
This is not your show. Be quiet.
Just shut up and participate when spoken to. Put some lotion in the basket. So I do have one question before you guys go. How did this trip meet your expectations, being that you've never been to this area? What did you expect the hunting to be like? What did you expect the area to be like? And then, how did it meet those expectations?
So for me, I kind of came into it thinking that we would get on a lot of animals, we would see a lot of animals, but it wasn't going to be any easier than any other place. And that was exactly what we experienced. I mean, these turkeys are 100% wild turkeys, and they beat us all week, just like anywhere else. So, I mean, even though there is a lot of animals, we heard turkeys all week. We still only killed one of them, so it's still an extreme challenge. And really, it was pretty much exactly the way I thought it would be. Lots of animals, but still very difficult.
That's
so,
awesome.
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, it was super cool to be in the suburbs, but still be able to feel like you're just in, back home hunting a big chunk of private land because, you know, it's funny how big 100 acres can feel when you get away from a road. You know, that's not a giant chunk of land when you really look at some of these other places that I hunt around the country. But, man, you get away from the roads, and it feels every bit as wild as anywhere else. And so that was really interesting. I expected to hunt some of those postage stamp size properties, and we didn't get to do that. Maybe we'll get to do that next time. But, yeah, I have to agree with Jared. These turkeys, just because they're urban turkeys or urban deer, it doesn't make them any easier to kill. Yeah. At least, you know, with my terrible skill set, we still had to work at it.
What's funny is the property that you guys were hunting the first 2 days, the deer on that property are very sensitive. I think those deer are like the hardest deer to kill.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, like yesterday when those deer come through,
they were super
skittish. We moved because he thought he saw the gobbler behind him, and I shifted myself around the tree, and those deer saw me from 80 yards, and they were gone. I mean,
they were super skittish.
I bet that guy in the 90 has done unspeakable things.
It's hard to tell.
That's what was in his backpack.
He's looking at him saying, "Gentlemen, gentlemen,
over here, who's the boss?"
Oh, Lord.
No, well, we appreciate you guys coming out, and you know, next time deer season.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, when you come out in October, hopefully we get to put some sick deer down and get on some whitetails around here too.
I hope you come to Tennessee next week.
I'd like to. I need to get permission.
It's an open invite.
Don't ask. You take it.
Well, you know, I was talking to my brother Josh, and he said, just start packing your bag, and when your wife asks you what you're doing, just don't answer. Turn your phone off and leave. Come back a couple days later, pretend you never left.
This is great advice, Josh.
I said, that might work, Josh.
That's not going to work.
So we'll be in Tennessee. Here comes the helicopter. Like, missing person alert for Billy. This is an Amber alert for Billy. He's a missing child.
I will run away then because I don't want to answer to the boss at home.
Yeah. Well, so you guys have hopefully all of us have Tennessee on the docket next week, and then you're going to Minnesota.
I go straight to Minnesota after that. Gonna hunt with my good buddy Ernie, and in Tennessee we'll be with Big A and Fred the Ghost Hill, and Catman and Adam Cruz, a whole bunch of people up there. It should be fun. Where else am I going? Going to PA. Me and Jared are gonna go smash big, giant 5-pound smallies.
Oh, right.
And then
totally
turkey hunt in the morning.
He just forgot about me on that.
Yeah, that's right. You're going too. That's right. You're going too. You're going. But that's going to be a fun trip, and I think that's probably going to wind out my turkey season if I'm not divorced by then.
Yeah, that's the pro tip.
Counseling's awesome.
Yeah. You just take all your stuff, and you lay it out, and you just take a video of it, and then just imagine what life would be like without half your stuff.
That's right. Well, and then you threw Ohio at us this week too.
Yeah, well, we have to.
So
we have to go scouting.
I don't know how I can work in Ohio. I'm like maxed out.
Maybe just a quick scouting mission.
Maybe so.
Look for some sheds.
Fly in, fly out.
Yeah, I mean, if we had those pilot licenses.
Of you being on the lease.
Yep.
Just emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally. Yeah.
He was there in spirit.
I'm supportive.
He's our Sherpa. You're kind of our lease sugar daddy in a way.
You are welcome.
Thanks, baby.
I can't wait I can't wait to get my benefit out of it.
I'm just camp cook. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for being on.
Hey,
We got to
thanks
get
for
these
having
guys
us
to
down.
the airport and see them in October.
Yeah, it'll be awesome, man. Maybe next week, but we'll see.
Yep.
Good.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for checking
Appreciate
out.
it.
See you guys soon.
See ya.